Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. We're here for Wacky and Weird Wednesday. All the weird and wacky news you need to know about so that you can have some joy in the weirdness and wackiness of our world. This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee, a father and daughter news podcast where we look up our stories right before the show starts. We just got caffeine in our body and we learn to read and speak live on stream. Let's get into those wacky headlines and spin that segue wheel. Today on Wacky and Weird Wednesday. Vampire fanatic detained after dumping dead deers and lambs outside a New Forest church. And man kills a neighbor's fish with detergent because noisy pot was keeping him awake.
Not that. Greetings for more weirdness from the United States. And did you know that almost every sensitive radiation detector built since 1945 relies on shipwreck steel? It's true. Plus, a huge wasp nest takes over Norfolk Wildlife Trust Workers Office in England. Virginia.
Spider-Man Brand New Day faces its deadliest villain yet as toxic flatulence clears a cinema. Plus, how one missing underscore sent an innocent man to jail for 18 months.
And a weird Jeopardy question from a couple of years ago sent me scrambling for what the real story was. So we got that and let's do the story about a climber who sealed herself 230 feet under a mountain for 500 days. Yay! Sounds like fun.
In my culture news, Star Wars A New Hope dubbed in Welsh for the first time to mark a sci-fi classic's 50th anniversary.
And it's National Underwear Day. Underwear? Under there. Underwear? That's right. It is Underwear Day on Wednesday, August 5th, 2026. And I'm Before Coffee.
You already have coffee. You're going to get 3 more cups of coffee. It's not going to help you with...
I cannot possibly drink more than I made, so that's not a thing.
Well, you've already had 2 cups, haven't you? So a third one. It would be a third one if you get another one.
Refilled the one.
Oh, okay.
But then I thought we were ready to go, and I just sat here sipping and watching baseball highlights. All right, go ahead. Spin!
Our first segue is...
Click, click. The wheel! Let's have it. Joke, all right. I got some jokes.
Our first story is coming from Southampton. Let me sneeze first right before the story so I can read the whole thing with a clogged nose. This is from Ben Mitchell on The Independent. A man fascinated with vampires and Satanism, who placed deer heads and slaughtered lambs with inverted crosses at churches across the New Forest, has been detained under the Mental Health Act. Where the hell is New Forest, Southampton? Is it the UK? It's the UK. Okay, just making sure this place is called Southampton all over the frickin' globe. Because the English went everywhere and named everything the same thing. Benjamin Lewis of Taunton, Southampton, previously pleaded guilty to 5 counts of religiously aggravated harassment and 2 counts of theft of lambs between February and August last year, 2025. Sentencing the 48-year-old, who appeared by video link at Southampton Crown Court, to be detained in hospitals with restrictions. Judge William Mousley, KC, said, "These offenses taken together would otherwise have justified substantial sentences of imprisonment." Laura Dewberry, prosecuting, told the court that lambs had been stolen from 2 small farms in the local Hampshire areas. Well, nobody think of the small farmers. Lewis had killed them by slitting their throats before dumping their bodies at 4 churches, as well as at a mental health facility where he had previously been treated. So he has a history of this. Okay. I guess they didn't have anybody checking up on him. She said that in February 25, a deer's head was found with an inverted wooden cross at St. Teresa's Church in Taunton, followed by a lamb being placed on a light fixture below a statue of Mary, along with another inverted cross. Sounds more like a witch than it does a Satanist, but I don't know. Maybe Satanists do this tough stuff too. Sounds bad. It's either way. It's bad PR for Satanists. Miss Dewberry said that Canon Simon Trelaw had initially... That's a crazy name. Canon Simon Trelaw. Or I guess he is a canon and his name is Simon Trelaw. Had initially attempted to make light of the first incident by telling the media that he would have preferred sausages rather than a deer head, and he said the sausage had later been left at the church as well as animal bodies. Well, thank you! The prosecutor added that children had seen the dead lamb and been very distressed as a result. Well, no one think of the children! Animals are dead! Children play with dead squirrels on the side of the road. The children are fine. Well, children I knew, I didn't play with them. I did look at them, though. I was like, oh, that squirrel's dead. She added that Canon Traylor told police that he believed the perpetrator had targeted the church during the Easter period, and he felt targeted and disturbed. That's what they said. Oh, I guess it was in March. Yeah, okay. At Christ Church in Emery Down, Lewis had also dumped a deer without a head on one date in February, followed another later date by a deer's head being placed in the church's pulpit on top of a cross which had been moved from the altar. Miss Dewberry said the blood staining had forced the church to dispose of the cross. Oh no! I understand that it's very demented. I'm not saying what he did is right, but they're really acting like, you know. Oh God! Nobody died as far as I can hear, right? It was just my sensibilities have been attacked. Lewis also targeted St. Peter's Church in Bramshaw, where a dead lamb was placed on a flagpole with a tarot card next to it, and a deer's head crawling with maggots was placed on a pew on a later date. At Christ Church in Colbury, a lamb was placed on a tree stump with an inverted stone cross next to it, Miss Dewberry said. This does sound a lot like... This is definitely harassment. I almost feel like this is a skit that we missed out on. Like there's like somebody wrote up a sketch. Hey, let's make a sketch about a Satanist who keeps leaving dead heads at churches.
Satanist or vampire?
Yeah.
Which one is he?
The prosecutor
is he young dead?
He's both. He's a vampire enthusiast and Satanist, I guess according to himself.
Oh, he's an enthusiast, huh? Okay.
The prosecutor said a deer's head with an inverted cross was put on the gates of the Anchor House mental health facility in Taunton, where Lewis had previously been treated. Miss Dewberry said that there had been a number of previous incidents dating back 5 years that the prosecution were not pursuing. Lewis was also convicted of religious harassment in 2003 in the first case of its kind in the country, and he was like, well, it's not going to be the only time, I'm going to do it again. The prosecutor said that when Lewis was arrested, deer blood was found in the boot of his car with mixed animal blood in the vehicle. He added that when his home was searched by police, officers found satanic symbols, ritual notes, as well as sketches of vampires and concerning books about vampires and how best to kill humans. A suitcase contained inverted crosses and images of people cutting and sucking blood from each other was also found. Miss Dewberry said that the members of the public who had found the dead animal parks had been distressed and disturbed, and the owner of some of the stolen lambs had considered moving from her farm where she had lived all her life. She said by targeting churches, Lewis had caused an upset to congregations and added, "It's meant to be a place of sanctuary, but unfortunately these incidents cause them to be fearful of going to those sanctuaries." Consultant forensic psychiatrist Dr. Gaurav Malan told the court that Lewis had been diagnosed with severe autism and obsessive compulsive disorder, as well as mixed personality disorder and a mild learning disability. That explains it. There's one area of him that loves vampires. There's one area of him that loves being a Satanist. There's one area of him that, I don't know, likes sleeping. You know, multiple mixed personality disorder. It's not a common thing, but it's not that thing we haven't heard of. Yet again, this does not indicate that he's an evil person because he has these disorders. That just explains why he's doing these things. He said said Lewis had fantastical thinking patterns and limited insight into his condition. He needs help. He added that his autism dated back from birth and that at the age of 13, he placed a dead frog on a cross inside a church. Andrew Price, defending, said he's very sorry and want to be known and clear that he recognizes that he has done wrong, that he recognizes the situation and circumstances of the victims. He's relapsing. One of his multiple mixed personality disorders is obsessed with leaving crosses and dead animals, okay? Lewis told the court after he was sentenced, I want to apologize to the victims because they said they were worried about me if I was to come out. I do not want people to worry about me. So, I think this is, for me, it's an open closed case. Unfortunately, I think he's gonna have to go back into the psychiatric ward and get some help. Because he needs some sort of multi-personality disorder therapy to help him control his, control his personalities. Make sure that the one he wants in the lead, in the saddle, is not the one who likes placing deer heads on churches, on church pews. I'm laughing about it because nobody was harmed, right? I mean, people are mentally harmed. Nobody is dead. That's my story.
Okay. I'm waiting for some kind of indication.
Yeah, I said nobody's dead, so and then I stopped talking.
Vampire. What? You were talking while I was talking. What'd you say?
I didn't say anything important. Continue with your joke.
Oh. All right. There are no good vampire jokes, but I looked it up on the internet. They're all stupid. They're all bad puns that aren't even funny. But I do know a joke that's... You don't have a stake
in this.
I will quote... I don't have a stake. Hang on. I will quote Mitch Hedberg, right? Mitch Hedberg, I'll give him credit. He's not around anymore. Mitch Hedberg, the comedian, said, I went to a new doctor the other day, and all he wanted to do was take blood out of my neck. Do not go to Dr. Acula. If you don't get that, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Alright. My next story is going to be about a man who decided... this is actually a tragedy. Which is
the fish poisoning thing.
Yeah, the fish poisoning, shit. Yes. This is from Stanley Murphy Jones. Stanley Murphy Johns on The Independent. A man climbed into his neighbor's garden and used a motor oil and detergent that kill the neighbor's fish and destroy a water pump out of sheer frustration and lack of sleep. Instead of just talking to him or calling the police or anything, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to kill some stuff and destroy your technology. Jerry Duffy, 76 of Hadley Road, Barnet, North London, was driven completely insane by the sound of water pumping and running in his neighbor's fish pond. Maybe he should move out. On Tuesday, which was that was yesterday. What am I saying? That was the 4th of August at Willesden Magistrates Court. Duffy pleaded guilty on the day of his trial to damaging the pond, fish, water pump, and pipes in March. That's right, I did it, and I'm happy I did it. He warned his neighbor, Andreas Pothides, that he would take matters into his own hands if he did not do something about the noise. Shahid Iftikhar, prosecuting, told the court the neighbor dispute had killed 5 or 6 of Mr. Pothides' koi carp and potentially caused 565 pounds of damage, which he's probably going to have to pay for because he pled guilty. He said the defendant had previously complained to the complainant about a noise coming from his garden. He had said the word's defective, if you didn't deal with it, I would. There was a warning before the incident. Still doesn't make him less guilty for doing it. Prosecution added Duffy was captured on CCTV having climbed into the complainant's garden and damaged the water pipes and pumps. In mitigation, Elliot Stern told the court his client had tried to deal with the dispute without resorting to killing the fish. Mr. Stern said the man had been driven completely insane by the noise. Headphones exist.
I would be
playing loud music.
Drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can be petty and counter it with your own noise and see it. How does that feel? You can put headphones on so you don't have to hear it. Oh, but I can't sleep with headphones. They make headphones for people who sleep. I have some.
I would sit outside with the air horns going every 30 seconds.
Yeah, there's so many other things you could do, right?
Yeah.
And he decided, no, you know what? Murder. I mean, it's murdering your fish.
Murder a fish. That'll show them. You can't replace a fish. You can't replace water.
They just want flowing water, yeah.
Yeah. I'll kill your koi pond, you piece of shit. How dare you have peace and quiet?
They initially said they would stop the water pump going, but then turned around and said that's not good for the fish. Duffy, who worked as a builder before his retirement, lives in the studio flat, which backs onto the Guardian, owned by a neighbor, the court heard. An environment often came to the house until Duffy either had to move or close his window, the court heard. The dude was like, I'm here to hear your complaints about this. Went to him and said, dude, move or close your fucking window. There's no way you're still hearing the pond in your flat, which is 5 stories up or whatever, if you just close your damn fucking window. Oh my god, that's why this is a wacky and weird story. Sadly, fish had to die for this, but it is fucking wacky and weird. Out of sheer frustration, lack of sleep, Mr. Duffy, out of character, I would say, lost his mind and committed various damages, said Mr. Stern. Duffy, who pleaded guilty to 3 counts of damaging property and 1 count of unlawfully destroying fish, was handed a 2-year conditional discharge. He was also ordered to pay that £565 of compensation to Mr. Oddities. So, there's your...
That's an expensive fish dinner.
Yeah,
At least you could have eaten the fish. Get up there with a rod and reel, catch the fish, reel it in, eat it for dinner. You at least got a meal out of the thing. You got nothing out of it. I relate
to this because I actually used to have also a neighbor who had like a little pond with no fish, but like a fountain that was always playing in the back of their garden all night. Yeah. Twinkle, 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 twinkle. At some point, you just get used to it.
Right.
It just like becomes gray noise.
The wind makes a lot of damage, but you get used to it. My neighbor's got it. How bad are you as a human being? You just complain about everything. You know, just what's wrong with you? You just unhappy.
No, the worst part is you complain, but you don't even do anything to solve it for yourself, except for like the most harshest result, right? The most harshest thing you can think of: destroy everything and kill the fish.
It's the Vladimir Putin solution to everything. Let's not negotiate. Let's just invade. Right?
Give me your joke.
Here's a good one. My neighbor knocked on my door at 3 a.m. last night. Can you believe that? 3 in the morning. Luckily for him, I was still up playing my drums. You fool!
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any more soundboard ads on the on Discord. They limit how many soundboard things you can have.
Corksuckers. Okay, we have a spin, and I'll read my stories. I guess we'll do the longest one first.
Also, hello, Almlin. Thank you for your invisible acorn. We may not be able to see it, but we know you have it.
Yeah.
We've got a mixed metaphor. It almost landed on non sequitur. A mixed metaphor.
Right, a mixed metaphor about nuclear radiation. This is the longest headline I've seen in a while. Reading the headline takes about almost as long as the story. Would you say mixed metaphor?
Uh-huh.
All right. Did you know, as a matter of fact, almost every sensitive radiation detector, Geiger counters, built since 1945, relies on steel salvage from ships that sank before the first nuclear test because everything smelted after that day carries a faint trace of a bomb era in its structure, and the supply of pre-war wrecks is finite. That's the entire headline, believe it or not. That's like the first paragraph of the story. That is the story, actually. Lachlan Brown has the story. SpaceDaily.com. I can take my glasses off. There's a version of this story that sounds almost too perfect. In it, the first atomic bomb did more than begin the nuclear age. It placed a permanent radioactive signature into the atmosphere. In fact, it placed it into our bodies because of strontium-90, which entered every batch of steel made afterwards. Scientists building radiation detectors were then forced to retrieve uncontaminated metal from warships resting on the seabed. Even precise measurement made today therefore depends on a dwindling inheritance from the world before Trinity. Trinity was the site in New Mexico where they dropped the first atomic bomb. Well, they didn't drop it, they just set it off. The image is irresistible. Physicists listening for the faintest particles in nature from inside chambers made from the bones of sunken ships. It also needs correcting. Pre-1945 steel has genuinely been used in low background radiation facilities. Some old ship steel has ended up around extraordinary sensitive instruments, but it's not true that almost every sensitive detector depends on metal salvage from a wreck, or that science will run out of usable steel when the last pre-war hull is gone. Okay, you just contradict yourself. The accurate story is less folkloric and more interesting. Once an instrument becomes sensitive enough, its own materials can begin to imitate the signal it is built to find. At that point, steel is no longer just structure, it becomes part of the experiment. We had this kind of happen with that microplastics thing, right? The we're getting all kinds of microplastics, and then they detected it. Hey, it's coming for our gloves. And they have to start over again.
I remember that story.
They're all contaminated, throw them all out. There's no real reason to even look at them anymore because, hey, let's use non-plastic gloves next time. Anywho, the detector can become louder than the radiation is measuring. A radiation detector never operates in silence. Cosmic rays arrive from above. Don't forget there's radiation coming from the sun. Radon and its decay product move through the air. Radon's always in our air. It's in our air. It's a toxic gas. It's released by the decaying of certain elements, and it's in your house. Yes, it is. Radon and its decay products move through the air. Traces of uranium, thorium, and potassium occur naturally in rock, concrete, glass, and metal. Even a bolt, cable, or speck of dust can contribute a few unwanted events. For an ordinary surveyed meter checking whether an area is safe, those tiny contributions are usually manageable. For an experiment waiting months or years for an exceptionally rare interaction, they can overwhelm the measurement. Yeah, it's like light pollution. It's radiation pollution. You're getting too much radiation, you can't single out the actual radiation that's occurring in a localized area because it's coming from your instruments. And false readings. We've been monitoring this for 6 years. We got nothing but false reading. That's a big waste of time. Snow Lab describes the problem in unusually clear terms. Okay, let's hear them. Let's hear them in clear terms. Some of the interactions sought in its underground experiments may occur only once per ton of detector material per year. The laboratory sits beneath 2,070 meters of rock, reducing the cosmic rate by a factor of about 50 million. Yet experts still need clean rooms, carefully screened components, and our own layers of shielding.
And don't bring any bananas.
Yeah, that potassium will
fruit.
That's right. You get false positives from bananas. I wrote about the same principle in my piece on ice cubes. 5,160 light sensors buried in the Antarctic Circle, Antarctic ice. Sorry. This is the author saying this. An ice cube, not the wrapper, I'm pretty sure. The ice is not merely somewhere convenient for the detector. Its darkness, clarity, and depth help determine what the instrument can distinguish. In low background counting, the walls around the sensor play similarly active role. The task is not simply to detect radiation, it's to know whether a recorded event came from the sample, the sky, or the surrounding rock of the machine itself. Why 1945 became the dividing line for steel? Well, it's not a big mystery. The Trinity test took place 81 years ago last month in New Mexico on 16 July 1945 in White Sands Missile Range. Hundreds of above-ground nuclear tests followed around the world. Don't forget, yesterday was the anniversary of Russia setting up the world's biggest putting all kinds of radiation in everybody's bodies. Yay! Nuclear fallout. Hundreds of above-ground nuclear tests followed around the world from the 1950s to 1960s until they were banned in 1964. Atmospheric tests were. Don't forget that stupid-ass North Korea or whoever is trying to do nuclear tests above ground.
Iran, too,
China.
I think, right?
Yeah,
was it Iran
they just all
trying to do it? That's what they started that war about.
No, Iran doesn't have nukes. Iran doesn't have nukes. That's what this stupid war's about. Their fallout distributed artificial radionuclides throughout the atmosphere and across the surface of the planet. We're just going to call them strontium-90. That's a specific one that affected all humans. Steel made before that period could not have incorporated fission or activation products from weapons fallout during the original manufacture. That made older materials attractive to laboratories trying to push their background count as low as possible. There is a whole lot to read here, but I'm going to just cut this story off and see if there's a conclusion. I always get to the conclusion. Let's have many wartime wrecked or archaeological sites and resting places of people who died aboard them. Of course, they're not going to be brought back to life by you treating them like museums. That's not going to bring them back to life, believe it or not. Their metal may be finite, but so is the history contained in their structure. Who cares? Removing a hull plate is not equivalent to buying an old beam from a demolished factory. HMS Perth, sunk in the Indonesia waters in 1942, was stripped on an industrial scale decades later. Low background steel has often been offered as a motive. A peer-reviewed historical archaeological study on wreck urges caution. A demand for such steel is small. Modern low radioactive steel is available, and ordinary scrap value may better explain much of the illegal salvage. Oh, okay. Why are we treating shipwrecks like they're not going to rust away into oblivion? They're going to rust away till they're not even there anymore. We're acting like, ooh, better protect them. Okay. We have plenty of shipwrecks we can sink for if you want to create artificial reefs. We don't need pre-1945 shipwrecks for that. So this is probably pre-nuclear shipwreck steel is finite. That does not mean sensitive radiation detection faces a materials deadline. The laboratories can reuse existing shields, can select clean stock, manufacture radio pure alloys, electrofoam copper, and design active veto systems identifying one events. The enduring part of the story is not that modern science survives by consuming sunken fleets, is that the atomic age changed what the most sensitive instruments had to notice when a detector is listening for one event in a ton of material over a year. History can register as noise. The steel around the experiment has manufacturing data, chemical history, and radiation histories. Physicians have to understand all three. That's right. You would have to know the history of the actual steel, wouldn't you? How do you know that steel is not exposed to radiation? You don't. You just pulled it up off the bottom of the ocean. There's your story. Let's have a mixed metaphor about shipwrecks, I guess, or something.
I thought we were talking about nuclear Geiger counters.
You gotta quench your Geigers.
That they're made out of shipwreck pods.
And if the ship's made out of bananas, do not retrieve it. Because older detectors.
The instruments whisper the ghost location, decoding an alien broadcast. There you go, mixed metaphor. both ghosts and alien. Imagine that if all radiation was just an alien broadcast. They're like, yeah, we use gamma rays to contact people, and we're like, that stuff kills us. We can't.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's possible, right? If radio waves, right? If magnetrons, all that stuff can carry signals. Why can't gamma rays carry a signal? We just haven't figured out the language to translate it.
Yeah, radiation is gamma rays for the most part. Those are the radioactive things that just penetrate your skin, burn holes in your DNA, and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to tell us something in our DNA, and instead it just destroys it.
And humans are doomed. It's just like the dinosaurs didn't know they were doomed, probably, but I think humans know. I mean, deep down inside, we're not. The dinosaurs were just called.
No. Well, they didn't all just die from them. They had a nuclear winter, so to say.
They got smaller.
So I think at the point where the nuclear winter so to happened is then when they were like, oh, maybe we're fucked. There's no plants. The sun is gone, because the sun supposedly was gone for multiple years.
We know from the science
of that meteor impact.
We know from science that you limited your diet when you're about to have children. Your children are never going to grow up to full size, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what happened. I mean, dinosaurs turned into birds, flightless birds, flying birds, some of them, right? But most of the other ones just died off.
People went back to the ocean. Some people, some animals.
People? It's an incomplete fossil record, but it happened so long ago. That's why we got to investigate it. All right, so that's your science
Next
for
story?
today. Yes.
Or that's your only story?
Yeah, one more story. One more story this morning. Let's do the short one about the wasp nest, maybe, or the short one. Let's do the wasp nest. Let's do the wasp nest. This is from BBC.com. It's a shorter one. A huge wasp nest takes over Norfolk Wildlife Trust Workers Office. This is from Nev Gordon Farley of BBC. There's a picture of this big ass wasp nest that's bigger than the binders and the shelf that it's covering. Big muddy wasp nest. I sit there and watch wasps, right? I watch them in my garden collecting mud for their nests and seeing where they're going. It's kind of fun. The nature reserve manager has been working from home after a group of wasps took over her office and built a 1 meter or 3.2 foot nest around a bookshelf of ring binders. Elise Rothney, a nature reserve manager for the Trinity Broads. The Trinity Broads, I know them. Anyway, the Trinity Broads, the Trinity Broads. At the Norfolk Wildlife Trust said after weeks of being out conducting surveys, which, I mean, if you're a wildlife person, you're always in the field, right? She returned to her office on 11 June in Ormsby Street, St. Michael, and saw wasps buzzing around the corner. She found a nest about a quarter the size of it is now and said she worked for more than 2 hours before calling it a day. Don't forget, she's a nature person. She's not just going to kill them, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, kill it! It's inconvenient to me, kill it! Not necessarily the best thing to do for nature. It was fascinating to watch the wasps coming and going and building the lovely layers of color. It looks like exotic paper, and there's a picture of it. It actually does look kind of cool. Of course, they're building it from whatever they find on the ground. It starts on the floor, behind a box. I put it there, and they've come up on the inside and spread out on the box, but they've gone in all the little crevices around the binders and shells. And her reaction was, "Oh my God, let me get us off this, kill those wasps." Nope, she's like, "Nope, I can live with them." For a while, she could. She said the wasps around the marshes would have to deal with the roaming cattle and sheep, so she challenged her inner ungulate to stroll through the office like a browsing cow. That's right, cows aren't bothered by it. They just keep going. In the autumn, it is expected that wasps will leave the nest. She said the intention is to leave it be, and eventually they will all leave. The females who emerge will go off and try to hibernate and come back next spring as queens. That's when you kill their nest, when they all leave. All the worker wasps will eventually die off and go hunting for food. Well, I can't die off and go hunting for food. You can't do anything when you're dead. I think she means or go hunting for food. Or you can go hunting for food and then die off. You can't do it in reverse order. Once you die off, it's like, I can't eat. Kind of kills your metabolism. A picture of the nest was shared by the Norfolk Wildlife Trust, which said thousands of new colleagues moved in without permission, skipped recruitment entirely, ignored the office hot desking policy. While people have been divided on the post, divided about what? While people have been divided on the post comments, Rothney said people do not need to be afraid of them. I would encourage people, if you got wasps that are bothering you, just keep calm and try to move away. If you keep calm, they will sense they won't feel threatened. Nah, man, I swing at them. I give them a big old swing. I swing at everything I got, but I guess I'm not supposed to do that. There's your story. I got a mixed metaphor about flying insects, there's thousands of metaphors about this.
Thousands? That's a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, you
I don't know if I can name them all.
There's bee metaphors, right? Busy bee. Anyway.
Wasps, though.
Yeah. But a lot of people just think anything that buzzes is a bee, right? There are a lot of people like that. That's a bee? No, that's actually a yellow jacket hornet. Okay. It still bit me, you know? Anyway.
Those wasps are like a pocket knife with wings.
Oh, yeah.
And they were collecting tolls.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking of my second line.
Oh, okay.
And they were collecting tolls. What does that have to do with each other? I have no idea.
That's like that movie, West Side Story, the Sharks and the Jets. You know, they got little knives, little switchblade knives. Just like
we're back to talking about New York City, I see.
Right. That's it, man. That's my stories, and I'm sticking to them.
All right, let's go.
Don't forget for my next section, I sent you that video. If you could just play it before my story, I don't know.
Oh, you want to watch it?
Yeah, just play it before, like that 1 minute and 10 seconds. It's only a very small section, right? It's a very short video, but there's that one question. Anyway, I was just going to ask you to play it before my next video. Let's have a spin. And I'm going to refill my coffee as quick as I can. And then I'll try to send you another video.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to do a lot this year.
Our wheel spin is a limerick. So you better go get that coffee quick.
Nah, man. Hello. Well, I'll think of a limerick on my way there. What's it about?
My story is going to be... My first story is going to be about the fart in the Spider-Man movies. So, really smelly... Flatulence is a great subject for a limerick. This is from Joycelyn Yu.
Lots of things.
Exactly. Lots of things, yeah. This is on the IB Times, coming out of Cartagena, Colombia. Dozens of moviegoers in Colombia were forced to abandon a screening of Spider-Man Brand New Day on the 2nd of August after a bout of overpowering flatulence cleared the cinema. The smell was so strong the audiences fled the packed auditorium and spilled into the public corridors of the Plaza Boca Grande shopping center. The severe stench prompted a rapid exodus from the enclosed auditorium into the public corridors of the Plaza Boca Grande shopping center. A local performer dressed as a titular superhero stepped in temporarily to entertain the crowds as they evacuated the Cine Colombia multiplex. The identity of the individual responsible for the smell remains unknown. Yeah, no one's gonna tell you who dealt it. I once farted and cleared an entire cinema. It's not really something you brag about at the event. Leaving multiplex staff without a definite culprit, mobile phone footage emerged across various social platforms showing audiences milling about the hallway with many covering their faces. The disruption occurred halfway through the highly anticipated feature, halting the weekend entertainment for hundreds of attendees who had gathered to see the latest superhero installment. There were no reported injuries, though the smell was intense enough to prompt dozens of ticket holders to leave the premises without waiting for the final act. While the cinema management did not officially cancel the showing, the odor was reportedly so strong that continuing to sit in the dark became difficult. Speculation spread among the displaced audience regarding the origin of the disruption. I mean, if you smell something that rough, you might think there's actually like a gas leak, right?
Methane leak, yeah.
Initial reports indicate that some attendees suspected an elaborate prank involving a commercial stink bomb, while others remain convinced that a fellow viewer suffered a severe and badly timed gastrointestinal emergency. Gastrointestinal emergency. Social media users quickly picked up the incident, taking to various platforms to label the anonymous culprit the villain of the afternoon. One local. What? I got something in my throat. One local commenter noted that ruining an entire cinema in such a way suggests something wrong with whatever the individual had consumed. Expressing disbelief at the scale of sudden evacuation, another user stated that there is no respect anymore. But what I do not think anyone is so rotten as to evacuate an entire auditorium. And then here's a social media post where it said, a screening of Spider-Man Brand New Day was evacuated after an audience member unleashed a Hulk-sized fart. The smell was so unbearable that moviegoers had to leave the theater in disgust. From Dexterto. The disruption stands in contrast to the broader reception of the newly released blockbuster, Spider-Man Brand New Day, recently secured its £730 million worldwide ticket sales, which is about 927 million, almost a billion basically, almost $1 billion in ticket sales, marking the second most successful opening weekend of any film globally. The feature also currently holds a 90% critical approval rating, making the incident an unusual moment during the film's highly successful international theatrical run. Such public disruptions caused by strong odors are unpleasant, yet they are not unprecedented. In 2023, Singaporean Airlines issued a refund of £1,000 or $1,000 to a couple after they're forced to relocate from their premium economy seats to escape a passenger traveling with a flatulent dog. Similarly, Colombian influencer Jefferson Cosio faced a ban from Avianca Airlines following allegations that a chemical gas device burst during a commercial flight. As for the incident inside Plaza Boca Grande, cinema operations eventually resumed their normal schedule for all subsequent viewings once the auditorium was aired out. Open all the doors and get some fans in there! The person responsible managed to leave undetected in the ensuing confusion, leaving multiplex staff and audience members to guess who cut their viewing short. I do think it could have been a prank. Because I feel like if you were sitting next to the guy who let... I mean... There's two ways you could do it, right? You have to kind of lift to the side to let out a silent fart, or you just actually let out a huge one. Maybe they're waiting for a really loud part of the movie, right? And then they went, and it's just no one heard it.
I think they probably shit their pants completely because a fart will kind of drift and go away. If you shit your pants, it's still there, like an hour later.
Yeah, but then I feel like you would smell the person who. if you sharted, you would smell the person when you escaped the cinema. Maybe he went straight to the bathroom.
One on the floor.
It could have been a woman.
Rolled down his leg and rolled between the seats. I don't know.
I think the staff would have said we did find some stool under a stool. Anyways, that's your really bad joke. Go ahead and give me your limerick.
All right, limerick was quite easy, believe it or not, and then didn't even have to use art. There you go. This worked out pretty well.
Thank you for the laugh, Omlin.
Here's my limerick. Went to the arachnid. Sorry, let's do this again. Went to Arachnid Man movie with friends to test our level of spidey sense, but a situation developed. Our olfactories were enveloped by pungent, offensive, Trump-like flatulence. Thank you. Thank you very much. Rhymed flatulence. Thank you. It went for the harder rhyme. I should get some extra points for that. Nobody don't award points, but...
This is the show where points don't matter.
I went to get coffee and I was completely out, so I ended up getting what was at the bottom.
There really wasn't much to say.
Right. Not much to say.
It was just somebody farted at the theater. They really drew out that story, honestly. Our next story.
Once again, in this situation, we apply the third grade rule. It might be the second grade rule, but I would say the third grade rule.
Whoever smelt it, dealt it?
Smelt it, dealt it. Yes, exactly. If you smelt it, you dealt it, so it'll stop pointing fingers. That's what it is. You fart and you accuse everybody else. That's what you do.
Our next story is coming from, again, the IB Times by Tanmay Puri about one man who was sent to prison. Sent to jail for 18 months because of a typo. This is Brandon claims spent 18 months in jail before an appeal court found he had been wrongly convicted after investigators traced the wrong online username. Also, does he get any compensation for this? He probably lost his job. He couldn't do it, what does he get for being stuck in jail for a whole year and a half? The Halifax man was acquitted after it emerged that a missing underscore in a Skyrim-inspired username had led police to the wrong person, overturning convictions that should have never been brought against him. Did he not go to court for this? I'm very confused. Okay, so this isn't in the UK. I think the story's from the person wrote the story in the UK, but this actually happened in Wisconsin. The case began with a 2018 investigation in Wisconsin and resulted in Claims' arrest in 2020 on charges including child luring and possession of child pornography. And all they had to base off of is this username on the internet? They didn't investigate his house? I'm very confused by this. Where was the rule of law in this court case? It was only while preparing his appeal that the legal team uncovered the mistake that had altered the course of the case. The appeal court ruled that claim was found factually innocent, saying there was no evidence linking him to the 12-year-old girl involved in the investigation. The judges also vacated the ancillary orders against him, bringing an end to a case that they concluded should never have reached the courts. The investigation that led to Claim's conviction began in Wisconsin in 2018 before Halifax Regional Police arrested him in 2020. He was accused of exchanging intimate images and engaging in sexually explicit conversations with a 12-year-old girl. Investigators believe they had identified the suspect through an online username. However, the account attributed to Claim was foos_row_da, while the actual suspect's username was foos__row_da. So, one extra underscore in there, with 2 underscores after the foos instead of 1. The seemingly minor difference proved to be the foundation of their mistake. According to reports, the appeal panel wrote, the Wisconsin police identified Mr. Claim as the offender using the incorrect username. His conviction rested on the internet username being attributed to him. Following the trial in Dartmouth Provincial Court in April 2023, Claim was convicted of child luring, making sexually explicit content available to a minor, and possession of child pornography. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison. I'm just like, I really need to see the actual court filing, because I don't understand how, like, did this not come up ever in the court filing? Why is this in the appeal? I felt like this should have come up in the initial court filing, like, hey, this isn't me, I don't have 2 underscores in my name. Maybe the lawyer was like, this isn't going to be a good enough defense. But I feel like maybe his lawyer sucked ass, because I feel like search his house, search his computer, search his internet history, anything to prove that this was him, right? That ownership of any text messages or anything with this 12-year-old girl, nothing. They just said, this is your name, we traced the IP to your house, the end. Case closed. Wipe our hands of this problem. I'm very confused. For me, that's the wackiest thing about this. I thought it was the 18 months in prison. For me, it's like the complete and total lapse of judgment in the actual court case, in my opinion. The conviction remained in place until his legal team revisited the evidence while preparing for the appeal. And then the lawyer said, hey, Claim, did you always have double underscore in your name? And then he said, I've never had a double underscore. And then everyone else was like, you've already spent 18 months in jail for this. Claim's defense lawyer, Zeb Brown, who said the mistake only came to light while reviewing the case ahead of the appeal. We noticed the problem when we were working on the appeal arguments this spring, Brown told CBC News. You really fucked up, but to be fair, he might be a public defense lawyer, which means they have a lot of cases. They're very overworked. We were trying to figure out why the digital forensic evidence pointed at him given his denial of any involvement. Oh, so he denied it until the end day and they still got him guilty? They still said, you're guilty. Our only proof is your username, you're guilty. Claim later submitted an affidavit explaining that a subpoena issued by Wisconsin police contained what he described as a subtle mistake that ultimately changed his life. Yeah, I mean, people are like, did you hear about Claim? He's a freaking child diddler. It's like, no, he's not. It was some other guy. Speaking to Dexerto, he said, in the later stages of preparing my appeal arguments, it was discovered that the subpoena contained a subtle mistake that changed the course of my life. Instead of requesting details for the username foos__row_da, the subpoena requested details for the username foos_row_da. The police officer, sir, did not notice that the perpetrator's username was foos__row_da, contained a double underscore. The discrepancy went completely unnoticed at the trial. It was never brought to the attention of trial judges. This is my warning for anybody out there who might be seeing this. If your child has a Kik account, take their phone away from them. No child should have a Kik account. That is famously where sexual deviants hang out, including pedophiles. So, why the fuck was there a child on Kik? A 12-year-old. An appeal court made clear that the outcome was unlike a typical appeal, where a conviction is overturned because prosecutors failed to meet the legal standards of proof or because of an error during the trial. Instead, the judge concluded that Claim had been wrongly identified from the outset. The panel wrote, "This is not a situation where acquittal is entered because the Crown has failed to prove beyond resident doubt that the essential elements of offense or error during the trial made the verdict safe." It added, "In these circumstances, Mr. Claim is factually innocent of these offenses. He should never have been charged, let alone convicted." According to reports, the appeal court also found there was no evidence connecting Claim to the girl involved in the investigation. Then how the fuck did he get... How did they find him guilty on just that? Along with acquitting him, the court vacated the ancillary orders that had been imposed following his conviction. You know, like, you're not allowed to be near a school, you can't go to playgrounds, you know, all this anti-pedophilia rules that they passed. It remains unclear whether Claim will pursue compensation. I would. For the 18 months he spent in prison after being wrongly vacated because of a mistaken username, I would. I don't care if I go bankrupt. 18 months of his life gone. He lost his job, lost his, everything else. Oh, did I go AFK again? I did go AFK again. You should call me when that happens, because I have no idea it's happening.
It just happened. Like I was just responding to what you're saying, and I was like trying to, because my mic was off. I was turning my mic off, and I noticed you were completely gone. Once I
okay. What did you say? Go ahead and share what you said, because I wouldn't have heard it anyway.
Not what they said. Yeah.
I was just talking about the ridiculousness of this court case, right? They're like, we got your username. That's it. You're guilty.
Yeah, I was going to say.
There was no follow-up. There was no proof of attachment. There was no files. There was no history. Nothing. They just said, "This is your username, right?" And then he said, "Yeah, that's my username." "Okay, you're guilty." The end. You go to prison.
Yeah, whatever. That's it. Yeah, no evidence. No. This date and time you did this and that.
Yeah.
No crime. No crime was committed anywhere. Just this. Yeah, whatever. And that's Wisconsin for you. I guess there's no justice in Wisconsin. And Wisconsin will keep an ankle monitor on you well past your prison sentence. Well past it for some fucking reason. You're
too much trouble to send somebody over there.
We're going to keep you in prison. How do you like that? You know, my probation is over, my prison sentence is over, and I'm still wearing an ankle monitor. Why? Oh, well, that thing you did wrong a bunch of years ago, which is okay. When did you just execute?
When does the punishment stop? Yeah. When do you finish serving your time? But that's the problem, right? He's not even guilty.
Yeah, he's guilty. He must have done it.
Like, does this guy even have a kick account? I guess he must have had a kick account, because otherwise they wouldn't have been able to find him.
My limerick, I guess, is time for. Unless you're...
Yes.
Were you done?
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I think I've ranted enough about this ridiculousness.
My neighbor was in jail for years. Left his family with just tears. Lock cameras? Or DNA? Not those at all, per se. Just a typo, as social media continues to justify our fears. I know that's a little bit long, but social media fucking up people's lives since the invention of social media. Misuse.
And I'm not trying to victim blame anyone, but why the fuck was a 12-year-old having a kick account? That's my problem. Where is this girl's parents?
Let's investigate the parents.
Yeah, what the
Let's
fuck?
lock them up. Yeah, 12-year-old girls need to be safe.
No, kick accounts are full of pedophiles. Everyone knows kick accounts are full of sexual deviants. Everyone. Literally, if you're like, oh, I'm into doing threesomes, they say, oh, you should sign up for a kick account and join a threesomes group. That's what kick is famous for. And you're like, oh, my 12-year-old should go on there.
Yeah. She's probably talking to Andrew Tate, who we're probably going to cover later this week about
That's a typo.
Connection with President Trump.
I can finally use my that's a typo sound alert on an actual typo.
What that was. All right, so spin. I still haven't found a video though.
All right, let's spin.
Short story first. Got to play the movie. I don't know, but I'll.
A whole movie. We're gonna watch a whole movie.
No, you're gonna watch a small clip from Jeopardy. Okay, and then you'll explain my story. Yes.
All right, I'll give you some alliteration, and I guess let's watch this short clip from Jeopardy.
Yeah, just let me know when it's done. I don't have to.
You should be able to hear it, actually.
Yeah, I'll know it ain't very long.
This Yankee shortstop hit the game-winning homer in Game 4 of the 2001 World Series on November 1st.
That's not it.
earning the nickname
That's not it. I
Mr.
want to just start
November.
at 110.
This is at 110.
Is really?
Yes.
Okay. Keep going then.
Sports nicknames for 600.
It's the next question.
This Yankee shortstop hit the game-winning homer in
No,
Game
that's
4
not
of the
the question. Let's go to the
2001
next
World
one.
Series
Okay,
on
but
November 1st.
the
earning
next
nickname
one,
Mr. November.
you can't give me the wrong time, then ask me to just live edit the fucking clip. I don't know. I haven't watched it.
Just play it. Just keep playing it. I'll tell you which one it is.
Oh,
It's
God.
Just keep playing it because I don't know how you ended up there.
You gave me the wrong timestamp.
Are you sure?
Yes, I know how to edit.
Live
I've been doing it
editing.
I know
Just
how
stop
what 110
doing
on the
I'm
thing is.
Thing. It doesn't help. It says
Stop
sports
gaslighting
nicknames.
me.
Bryant.
Kobe
I'm
Bryant
not
is correct. That
gaslighting.
extends your lead to 6,800, Joey.
Sports nicknames. The video is only a minute and 49
As you
long.
might guess, Hall of Fame goalie Martin Brodeur, known as Satan's Wallpaper, played 21 years with this NHL team.
There you
Joey,
go.
who are
That's the
Devils?
one.
Satan's Wallpaper, right.
Jersey Devil answer.
It's
Okay,
already
now we're
done.
going to story. Okay.
Okay.
I couldn't actually hear it. All right, so that was a Jeopardy question, which I've been watching Jeopardy recently. It's like, where do they get these questions from, and why is that anything anybody would ever know, right? And here's a question that absolutely came out of nowhere because it doesn't exist. NHL nickname quiz. This is from New York Times from a couple of years ago. And the only reason I'm bringing it up now is because this Jeopardy question thing, I tried to test my knowledge of this stuff. And that question came up and everybody in the comments is like, that's never been that guy's nickname. I've never heard that before. New Jersey Devils fans are like, what? So let's do it. New York NHL nickname, Satan's Wallpaper, and others you've never heard before. This is New York Times' Sean McIndo. We were treated to the top comedy moment of the hockey season this week. We have former New Jersey Devils goaltender to thank for it. No, not Mackenzie Blackwood hanging a 44 save shutout in his former team, although it was pretty funny, though. I don't know if that's funny. That was about Martin Brodeur, or as he's apparently now known, Satan's Wallpaper. That's the nickname you see, at least it's according to the fine folks at Jeopardy, the famous quiz show that featured him in a question on Monday night. This article, again, is from 2024, even though this showed up on my YouTube feed yesterday. It's always neat when the NHL gets some mainstream pop culture rub, and this time the reaction from the fans was unanimous, and that reaction was, what? And here's a Martin Brodeur himself doesn't even realize it. Nobody seems to have any recollection of that actually being Brodeur's nickname, not among fans or media or his fellow players. When I asked about it, I got hundreds of replies from confused Devil fans, many of whom had watched Brodeur for decades. Don't forget, he's 21 years as a goalie. Not one told me that he heard this so-called nickname. The confusion spread to social media and news organization. Two things first here. First, fake or not, Satan's Wallpaper is an absolutely A+ nickname. Seriously, that's right up there with the Chico to me cucumber. Whoever came up
But what does it
needs
even
to be in
mean?
the chart of fixing modern hockey's broken nicknames. I'm not a big hockey fan, so I'm just reading this guy's article. And second, I'm pretty sure I know what happened here. Okay, this author knows what happened. Okay. While online sleuths were eventually able to dig up a handful of ancient and obscure references to the nickname that never was, I don't think that researchers on Jeopardy were browsing the Bleacher Report. That's what it is, the Bleacher Report archives in 2009. Instead, I'd be willing to bet they were checking one of the best sources of hockey knowledge in the world. I think they got fooled by our old friends at Hockey Reference, specifically by their relatively recent and completely ridiculous nickname database. There you go. You may remember this from last year when the site quietly launched a new feature when we had some fun with it in our form of a quiz. You're not going to remember that. I don't think. This is New York Times. I don't read it every day. My theory then, which still holds true today, is that somehow scraping the web for any reference to a player having a nickname, no matter how obscure. That's how you wind up with Sidney Crosby being called Daryl, or John Tavares being T-Hums, or Ryan Nugent Hopkins being the skunk, or any number of other nicknames you've probably never heard of and have definitely never used. I kind of love it. So today, in honor of Satan's Wallpaper, we're going to bring the quiz back. Last time we focused on the active players. So it's time to look back at some of the stars of the past. Format is simple. I'll give you a nickname and you tell me hockey reference claims it refers to. We're not going to do this. So we're not going to do the quiz because it's silly. You don't know. None of you are going to know any hockey players.
Any hockey players, except for fake ones who were gay on a TV show. So that's all I got.
You might know Wayne Gretzky. You might know Wayne Gretzky. You might know the Russian guy. Yeah, Wayne Gretzky's a Trump pile of shit. And he's Canadian, of all things. Canadian, and he turns into a Trumper. What up?
The weirdest thing is being MAGA, but you're not even you're not even the you know,
racist.
America at the end there.
Yeah, he's a rich racist.
Really sad that happens.
Yeah, it's pathetic. As all MAGA are pathetic. Let's have us
handles.
Are the headlines? Oh, sorry. Are the headlines
hampered? I'm not repeating that. I don't remember what I said.
Right on. Next story. Story about the video mix-up. I swear to you, it's only a minute and 59. I can't believe.
It was really not that serious, and you could have just let it play anyways. It's fine.
I swear to you that when I watched the video, that started at 1:10. It didn't start at the beginning.
Almond just asked something real quick. A little editorial here. Almond just said, where was this actually convicted? Because it says Wisconsin police made the error, but the appeals looked like they were done in Canada. I thought they were being done in the UK. So I'm actually very unclear in the actual article that I read where this conviction even happened. Because they did say Crown Court, which makes me think British. Which, yes, it could be in Canada where it was actually... But the error was done by Wisconsin, but the conviction, I guess...
Canadian man!
Yeah. Was being done in Canada. So it was Canadian law that is fucked up, I guess, because they just decide...
It says both. Looking it up, it says police Wisconsin and Nova Scotia tracked the suspect. So they both ganged up on this poor guy without even reading what the hell was going on or whatever, man. It's just circumstantial evidence is not enough. I believe the child wasn't.
Yeah, I believe the child is the child who was the victim of this was 100% in Wisconsin. That's why Wisconsin was even handling it. And then they probably contacted Canada to go, "Hello, Canada. We think a man in your country is guilty of these crimes," and then they work together to track the guy down. That's probably what happened. And because he's Canadian, he was judged in Canada, and Canada just, I guess, takes the police's words for it. So that's what happened there.
Why don't people trust the government? Why don't people want flock cameras in their town? This is why.
Anyways, let's go to your story.
We got your license plate number. Well, yeah, but it's the wrong number. You know, that shit, you know. We got a photo. We got facial recognition of you. Well, there's 700 people that look just like me, believe it or not. That doesn't work. I'm sorry, your facial recognition.
I have a mole on his left cheek like I do. You know, something like right cheek, I guess.
There are so many doppelgangers out there for everybody. You'd be surprised. I've been accused of being people I've been called. Somebody walked up to me and just at a bar in Florida, somewhere, wherever it was. "Hey, Mutt, how's it going?" I said, "I'm not Mutt. I don't even know who you are." He goes, "Oh, you owe me money." You guys just wouldn't leave me alone. I kept insisting I owe him money. I've never met you before in my life. You need the hell away from me, you know?
Yeah. I mean, my friends actually thought you were, I just forgot his name again.
Willie Nelson?
Yeah, Willie Nelson. I actually made a joke that I met Willie Nelson at the Eiffel Tower. I met Willie Nelson at the Eiffel Tower, and my friend actually said, "Well, that's crazy." It's like, that's not Willie Nelson. Anyone who looks at you, that's not Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson's, other than the IRS, he's never done anything wrong. But the IRS,
he has a totally different. I'm just saying, he has a totally different face. He has way less jowls. You know, you don't have similar faces.
93. Just
saying, you don't have similar faces.
Way older than me. I don't look anything like Willie Nelson.
Yeah, exactly. But they see long white hair, and they're just like.
Not in braids, right? If I braided my hair, I might have it. Okay, next story. Let's do another one. Let's talk about the lady that's under the mountain. You
Yep.
think you're bored with life? Try spending 500 days underground. Ecoportal.net
She's
has
a dwarf LARPer.
Excuse me?
A dwarf LARPer. She wants to be a dwarf. That's why she went underground and, like in Lord of the Rings, she under the mountain.
Okay,
They went
then.
and find the mines of
The
Moria.
climber sealed herself 230 feet under. Yeah, your familiarity with the Lord of the Rings is a lot more. I know, read it in 1981. Okay, like yeah, I read them. It's 3 books. They all run together to me, and I read The Hobbit at the same time. They all run together for me. I know the movies are out, but again, it's all in my head. It's like yeah. There's a bunch of stuff that happened. Ecoportal.net. A climber sealed herself 230 feet under a Spanish mountain to spend 500 days underground and by day 65, she had lost all track of time. That's your story, because the headline is the story. No, I'm just kidding. This is from Hugo Rojas in ecoportal.net. Hugo Rojas, probably a Spanish writer, I'm guessing. In late 2021, a Spanish climber named Beatriz Flamini climbed down into the dark and pulled the world shut behind her. Her plan was to live 230 feet below a mountain in southern Spain. No sunlight, no visitors, no way to call the surface. She carried everything she would need and left nothing to chance. She would stay 500 days underground, longer than a year and a half. What nobody could predict is how fast her own mind would let go of time. Right, you don't know when it's day, you don't know when it's light. It's just another continuous cycle of what the hell I'm doing. Which it just sounds completely depressing. Lack of sunlight causes depression in most people. The cave sat north of the town of Motril in the hills of Granada. Its main chamber was about the size of a small apartment with a ceiling 3 stories up. A single lantern and her headlamp were the only sun she would ever see. Down there, the air never changed and the dark never lifted. Flamini brought 2 GoPro cameras and filmed short messages every few days. She read her way through 60 books and kept her body moving with daily exercise. A support team left food and water without ever showing their faces. From the moment she descended, every marker the brain uses to tell time was gone. There were no windows to check and no sky to read. Day 65 and the clock stops. For the first 2 months, Flamini tried to keep score of the days. She counted sunrise she could not see and marked the time as best she could. She leaned on her body, her hunger, and her sleep to guess the hour. Around day 65, the whole effort simply fell apart. After that, she stopped counting and let the calendar go. It began to feel, she said later, like it was always 4 in the morning. Without sunrise or sunset, 1 hour bled into the next. Days and weeks and months unfolded in the single long present. The past and present started to feel like the same blurred moment. I think this is what people in solitary confinement go through. And this punishment. You're already in prison and they punish you with this. So doing this willingly is an experiment in driving yourself crazy. That's about what it is. The reason lies in the clock you carry in your own head. Yeah, your brain loses track. Deep in the brain sits a cluster of cells that sets the body's daily rhythm. Let alone the internal clock does not run on clean 24 hours. It drifts a little longer, close to 24 and a quarter hours each day. Daily light is what resets it and keeps it locked in the real world. Think of it as a watch that runs slightly slow and needs a daily nudge. Think of it as the watch you used to have to wear that, before batteries. You have to wait for the town clock. Oh shit, it's 10 o'clock. I gotta set my watch. Those old days. Meals, chores, and contact with other people. Hold it steady too. Take all that away and the clock is free to wander. Cut off from the sky, it slowly loosens this grip on the calendar. Time is not an actual thing, just in case everybody is not confused about that. We invented it. When the support team came to bring her out, Flamini could not believe them. She guessed that only about 160 to 170 days had passed, and true, she had been underground for the whole of the 500 days. She probably slept a lot. I mean, you probably just sleep a lot. What else is there to do? Count the rats? I don't know. The gap of more than 300 days.
If there was any rats.
Yeah. Company. The gap of more than 300 days between what she felt and what was real. Oh, count the bats. Already? No way, she told the crew up in the cave. To her, the extra months had never happened at all. Maybe she went in a coma. She had gone at least 40 years old and came out at 50. Chronobiologists from the University of Granada and University of Almeria studied her along with the sleep firm Chrono Health. They tracked how her body clock and her sense of time drifted across the months, and data offered a rare look in a healthy brain cut loose from the daylight. Her long drift echoed the French explorer Michael Strifey, who lived 6 months in a Texas cave in 1972 and slid into 48-hour days. Wow.
Mm-hmm. There's a movie about this.
Yeah. Most of us never notice the clock until something knocks it loose. Jet lag is the same drift in miniature, packed into a single long flight. Night shift workers fight it every week, awake when the body begs for sleep. Even a late night, a bright phone screen nudges the clock off its mark. Flamini simply ran the most extreme version anyone has ever tried on purpose, yet the same forces tug at everyone who crosses the zones for works nights, or time zones or works nights. Let's do that sentence again. Yet the same forces tug at everyone who crosses time zone or works nights. Over 500 days underground show how thin the thread of real time really is. Like the steady pull that turns an offshore wind farm, the clock runs on cues we rarely count. It's the same hidden loss for a fox chased off its land by solar panels, but it's easy to miss. The clock you never think about is the one keeping you tied to the day. So there's your fun little story about putting yourself in solitary confinement and trying to shut off your body clock and see what it does. And I don't know. I think
After 2 months, you lose it, I guess.
Yeah, this is the whole thing, is that only humans know what time it is, right? Every other species in the world just goes by the sun. That's it.
Which, in a way, is the time.
Unless they're underground, of course. But the cycles of sun do affect the underground, right? Because the ground freezes.
But even then, if you're underground, you still get indicators of, quote unquote, the daytime, right? Like the bird chirping or, certain animals stuff. So even if you're a mole, you know when it's daytime because the birds are chirping and, I'm not going to go out there. An eagle's going to get me. And then when there's no more birds chirping, go, time for me to go outside. Of course, then an owl. And then an owl gets you because owls don't make any noise.
Owls when they don't fly.
Yeah,
maybe I'll show that experiment. The experiment in the flood when owls fly, they make absolutely no noise, like no noise at all. It's
scary.
Yeah. They would have to make a little squeak. Yeah.
As this headline should read, daring dwarf deftly defies daunting descents down daunting delves.
Daunting twice. Wow.
Yeah, it was very daunting.
Really daunting.
500 days in I think they argue several days in solitary confinement is torture. So 500 days is beyond torture. It's I don't even know what's worse than torture. Whatever that is. We need to invent a new word for purposely torturing yourself beyond the limits of what is already defined as torture.
Well, at least she gave her entire experience over to science so they can study it, right? Instead of just going, that was fun. Which is
that's good. Video blogs and stuff. Okay, let's roll our next segue for my culture news because we are.
Oh yeah, give me a video. Maybe we can do the one about owls. I don't know.
It's gonna be a hypothetical. The story is coming from, I guess, Hollywood or Wales.
Hooray for Hollywood!
For the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, they've decided to dub the entire thing in Welsh, not Welsh subtitles. They hired Welsh voice actors to redub the entire film, and I kind of want to watch it myself. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. This is by David Morquand on Aero News Culture, or should that be Amser mais in un calif belbed el fyrd.
I'll read it in Welsh.
I just did. That was Welsh.
No, the whole thing,
Star Wars,
the whole article.
It hasn't been translated to Welsh. And also, no people know what I'm saying. Star Wars: A New Hope, except for what, and most people just be like, I don't know what you're saying either because your pronunciation is bad. Star Wars: A New Hope has been dubbed into the Welsh language for the first time in order to celebrate the film's 50th anniversary next year. So it's not happening yet. Don't start putting your 50th anniversary posters up yet. It's not until next year, but it takes a while to dub. So they're doing it now. So it's ready for next year. Aboard Grim Good Grim Chi. That's what many Welsh Star fans will be saying instead of May the Force be with you. Oh, it's probably Fode, not Fode, because the singular F's are actually the V sound in Welsh. Next year marks the 50th anniversary of the first Star Wars film, Star Wars: A New Hope, 1977. And to celebrate the milestone, the iconic sci-fi adventure has been dubbed into the Welsh language. Gamreg, Simreg, for the first time. Does this make you feel really old that Star Wars is 50 years old? The new translation marks a stellar collaboration with Welsh language broadcaster S4C and the Welsh government. Lucasfilm co-president Llywelyn Brennan, who was born and raised in Wales, came up with the idea. Wales has such a rich history of storytelling and a beautiful lyrical language. We have never before had a translation of Star Wars in Welsh, and I am so thankful that in celebration of our 50th anniversary, we are been able to work with some incredible Welsh talent to make that a reality. He added, Welsh speakers will finally be able to enjoy the film in our native language, and my hope is that it will have the same emotional impact as if we're watching the film again for the first time. Welsh First Minister Rhun ap Iorwerth he commented, Star Wars was one of the most influential films of my childhood, and its appeal shows no sign of waning, captivating audiences to this day. To see a Welsh language version of this iconic film using the talents of some of our best actors is fantastic. He added, we already produce world-class TV and films here in Wales, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Star Wars in Welsh later this year. When's Doctor Who going to be in Welsh? It's filmed there as well. The cast lending their voices to Star Wars. Goodbye. News. I can hear that, by the way. That?
Yeah.
I can hear that.
Sorry.
The cast lending their voices to Star Wars. Goodbye. Nuith. No, I can't say it. Including Matthew Rhys, The Americans, Wildo's Bay, that's what he's been in, voicing Han Solo, Osian Morgan, playing from Waterloo Road, providing the voice for Luke Skywalker, Rhys Ifans, Notting Hill, Enduring Love, taking on Obi-Wan Kenobi, Amy Fionn Edwards, Peaky Blinders and Slow Horses, voicing Princess Leia, and Mark Lewis-Jones, who previously appeared in Star Wars The Last Jedi, as Captain Kennedy, is stepping in for the role of Darth Vader. How fun. Also, yeah, that's another telling sign somebody's Welsh. Their name's Rhys. My ex-Welsh boyfriend was also named Rhys. It's a very popular name. Wales has a long-standing connection to Star Wars franchise going back decades. In 1979, a full-size Millennium Falcon was built on Pembroke Dock for the 1980 sequel, Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. Later on, scenes from Disney Plus series Star Wars The Acolyte, as well as Lucasfilm's 1988 film Willow, and the 2022 sequel TV series of the same name were shot in locations in Wales. The Welsh government is aiming to have 1 million people speaking Welsh by 2050. The announcement was made last year and comes after figures from the latest census in 2021 showed a fall in the number of people who would speak the language compared to a decade earlier. Star Wars Gobaith Nuith will broadcast on S4C across its platforms on Christmas Day. Okay, so mark your calendars for Welsh Christmas with some Star Wars A New Hope, fully dubbed in Welsh in Simrig. I thought it was Simru. Simrig? I apologize for my Welsh.
Right.
Give me your hypothetical. I guess about this Christmas Day or Welsh films or...
Hypothetically, couldn't they just get Welsh actors to play all the parts? You know, how about that?
Just
Instead of just
refilm
dubbing it.
the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah. I'll have it a stage play. You don't have to do a film. You can stage play with fake scenery. People can use their imaginations. we gotta give people credit
To
for
be
having
fair, the
imagination.
original A New Hope was already a stage play when it was filmed originally, so...
Yeah, people who read have imagination. This is my theory. People that just want to see the movie and not read the book have no imagination. They cannot
There's a
read the
book
words
for Star Wars.
on the page and see a picture in their head. That's my theory. I don't know who these people are.
It's an actual thing. It's an actual condition, like
Yeah.
a mental condition. You can't see things.
Yeah, I think dyslexia is another condition that keeps you from reading, right? And then you just drop that part of your life, right? I can't even make out what those words are strung together, much less read them and make a coherent thought from them. I'm just going to stop reading completely and use movies as my own imagination, right? You're not going to have, I think that probably suppresses it somewhat, which leads me to the dyslexic joke, but I'll probably tell that later. That's my association. And I did
Well, it
send
was
you
a
a video.
hypothetical, but thank you. Hypothetically,
I know.
everyone can start reading.
It was hypothetical. Why not Welsh? There's got to be enough Welsh actors, right? There's Catherine I'm going to still around if we can act. Was Sean Connery Welsh or Scottish? I thought he
He's Scottish.
was Scottish. Or Sean Connery's not around anymore. Sean Connery's not around. So
Our
what?
next segue for this day in history.
Oh yes, day in history. Last day, the last show. I did send you video, so
I'll give you a non sequitur.
Non sequitur.
Sorry, Star Wars being 50 makes you feel old, Omlin. But
Star Wars
I think it's
is
different.
50? Oh,
That's what the article was about. Come on, man.
Let's do this day in history. Yeah, let's have everybody redone in whole different languages with different actors, man. You know, Shakespeare didn't even have women as actors, right? They're all men playing women on stage. 1864 in history. During the Battle of Mobile Bay, Union Admiral David Farragut sealed off the port of Mobile, Alabama, from Confederate blockade runners. What is Farragut famous for, Dan? I think it was damn the torpedoes or something like that. I forget what he said, but he was one of your first Union War heroes. In 1914, in Cleveland, Ohio, the first electric traffic light was installed, and it featured red and green lights. No yellow just yet. We're not going to warn you. We're just going to make you slam your brakes. And, of course, the first traffic ticket was given out, and the first rich guy avoided paying taxes. 1930, that's all speeding tickets are, my friends. Same with parking tickets. It's rich people getting out of taxes. 1930, U.S. astronaut Neil Armstrong, the first man to the lotteries, too, by the way. Neil Armstrong was born on this day. If you don't know who Neil Armstrong is, pick up a damn history book. He was the first man to walk on the moon. Left his footprint there. He was born in Wapakoneta, Ohio. For some reason, a lot of astronauts come from Ohio. Maybe Ohio sucks so bad they just want to get to outer space as fast as possible. Maybe that's it.
That's true. So true.
I would apologize to Ohio, but you keep voting for fascists. So,
There's a yellow.
1957.
Yes, there's yellow lights, Nico. There's.
Yeah, the first traffic lights in 1914, I think your car only went about 17 miles per hour, so slamming on your brakes was not a catastrophe. Let's go. 1957, the American Bandstand. Will I give it a 9? It has a good beat and you can dance to it. They used to rate these songs. That's a good beat and you can dance to it. That's all they ever said. It seems like. Anyway, Dick Clark's American Bandstand. A TV show in which performers lip sync their latest songs and the teenage audience's dance began airing nationally. My mom, according to my brother, got really caught up in American Bandstand. You know, you're home, you got nothing but kids to feed and diapers to change. You're watching TV, you get caught up in soap operas, whatever. She actually got caught up in who was dancing with who. Like, this was an actual
in the crowd.
TV show. Oh my God, Danny's not dancing with Jill today. He's dancing with, they must have broke
Susan.
up. You know?
Yeah.
You really got into absolute nobody's lives. These are people just teenagers just showing up to dance on television. That's all it was. I wonder if they signed a waiver, right? Of course, nowadays we'd be seeing them all in artificial AI porn. Worry about that. What a world we live in, huh? What a world. What a future. What a future.
What a thing
And
to
speaking
say.
of shit going wrong, right? Speaking of shit going wrong, one of the last thing JFK did, and it's a subject of our, it's a subject of our mic drop. 1963 on this date, one of the last things JFK did, the United States, the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom signed the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. It banned atmospheric nuclear testing. That's why you no longer do that stuff. I think 1964 was the last nuclear test, and that's why we say anybody born from 1946 to 1964 has a little bit of strontium-90, which is a offshoot, what do you want to call it, a ionized particle of uranium that takes, you know, basically degrades as fast as uranium and will give you cancer because your body absorbs it.
Uranium fever.
Your body thinks it's calcium. Your body thinks, oh, calcium, and sucks it right into your bones. Yep, leukemia really never existed.
Yeah, it's the same reason COVID killed so many people, because they had the virus. COVID virus was also shaped perfectly like a different thing, and then it was like, hey, this is the same thing.
Yeah, eventually we're going to die of something. So, you know what I'm saying? But again, when our government's doing it to it, it's not a good feeling. 1964, U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson put another terrible thing in history, the opposite of the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, which was a great thing. U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson put the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution. There we go. We're getting involved all the way up to our necks in Vietnam. And as if you want to look for a great song about Vietnam, we're gonna reference "Knee Deep in Big Muddy" by Pete Seeger. We just keep going through the mud. Oh, don't worry, the big fool's got a plan. No, we had no plan in Vietnam. We're going to stop communism. We didn't stop communism. We lost in Vietnam. We lost the Cold War. It was a big waste of treasure and lives. Another horrible thing happening to this day in 1981. One of the worst presidents in history, Ronald Reagan, fired more than 11,000 air traffic controllers who were on strike. Yes, Ronald Reagan, who once headed a union. Not only was he a union guy, the people in charge of the union, all the members of that actors union, put Ronnie Reagan in charge of it. And one day, less than 40 years later, Ronald Reagan fired all the union air traffic controllers. What a pile of shit. Yeah, I'm Ronald Reagan. I get to fire people. Once again, giving presidents too much damn power. Too much power. 2010, 33 workers became trapped after a mine in Atacama Desert in Chile. We remember this one. It ended successfully rescue in 69 days, attracting international attention. Only 69 days. And again, ironic, we're talking about the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty on the day we're talking about the day that, you know, right, deal under the, right? Ironic we're talking about that, and that's ironic we're talking about the miners being trapped for 69 days, and we're talking about a woman willingly being trapped under a mountain, right? 2011, the Thai businessman and politician Yingluck Shinawatra was elected Prime Minister of Thailand, becoming the first woman to hold that post. Amazing for a country like Thailand, which is a, you know, traditionally a very I would say, what would you call it, cloistered society or whatever. But vaulting way past America in progressive politics, right? 2019 continued anti-government protests and general strike brought Hong Kong to a near standstill. Among the demonstrators' demand were universal suffrage and investigations into allegations of police brutality. Good luck with that. Beijing ain't gonna give a shit about your freaking problems. 2019, American writer Toni Morrison passed away. He earned a Nobel Prize in Literature in 1993 for novels examining Black experience. But what I'm trying to think of is very profound. I just can't think of any of it. 2024, Sheikh Hassani Wazid, Bangladesh's first 5-term prime minister, fled the country amid mass protests against her government. 5 terms, way too many. I don't care who you are. Muhammad Yunus, a Nobel laureate, was named the country's interim leader. Yeah, 5 terms. Get out of office. You're not that special. You're just a human. Got it? You're just a human. Anybody can do your job. Seriously. Anybody can do your job. I say it about the president, too. Anybody can do your job. Anybody. You pick bum off the street can do your job. It's not that hard. The advisors do everything. Your staff does everything. In 1926, on this day, Harry Houdini wins a water fight. In this day, in 1926, Harry Houdini set a remarkable endurance record. We're talking about people spending time underground. Well, he spent 91 minutes. It sealed inside an airtight coffin, submerged underwater. The feat, staged to surpass rival magician Raman Bey, who I've never heard of, showcased Houdini's extraordinary breath control and determination. Despite experienced hallucinations near the end, he emerged with little more than a lingering irritability. Another legendary stunt to his name. Harry Houdini, escape artist. He could dislocate all of his joints. Yeah, he was killed by a punch in the stomach. From Wisconsin, by the way.
Yeah, yet again, one of those deaths that just make you angry. Completely unavoidable. Some asshole killed somebody.
Houdini would make side bets, letting people punch him in the stomach. But of course, he would tighten up them diaphragm muscles and never get hurt because he's really tough. But yeah, some guy hit him when he was not ready for it. And it wasn't part of anything. It's just some guy walked up to him and punched him in the stomach, which is going to kill anybody. Jesus. Anyway, independence declared by Upper Volta on this day in, let's see, man, they don't tell you the year. 1960. Upper Volta, which is now Burkina Faso, or the land of incorruptible people. You better live up to that. A landlocked country in Western Africa proclaimed its independence on this day, 1960, ending more than 60 years of French rule. Also a sad thing for Kennedys today. Marilyn Monroe passed away. She was found dead in her bed, died of a pill overdose. She achieved sex stardom. If you don't know who Marilyn Monroe is, check into it. Such films as Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and later became a cultural icon. So Kennedy's all tied up in that too, unfortunately. I think Bobby saw her maybe 3 days before that, and they weren't playing chess. I think there was something nefarious going on there. I can't. Anyway, I won't dive into that conspiracy. It happened before I was born. She died in this in 1962. Birthdays today. Johann Friedrich Kant von Strauss-Sonsti, German physicist and statesman, born in 1737. Other famous birthdays. We go all the way back to, actually, we don't go back. We come to the modern day, to the youngest first. And this one, because it's easier to scroll up, because I know when it stops. NBA player Anthony Edwards turned in 25. He's an NBA All-Star. Not an absolute nobody. Actor Olivia Holt, born in 1997, turned in 29. Actor Adam Arogoyan turned in 29. Musician Dawn Richards turned in 43. Here's a picture of somebody I recognize. Actor Jesse Williams, born in 1981, is turning 45. Celebrity chef David Chang, born in 1949. Musician Adam Yauch of the Beastie Boys is turning 62 today. Actually, he's not around anymore. He has passed away. So, that he passed away, he would be 62. Filmmaker James Gunn turning 60. Actor Jonathan Silverman, sounds familiar, age 60. Musician Jeff Kaufman of the Dave Matthews Band turned 61. Let's get somebody a little bit more famous up in here. Somebody more famous. Patrick Ewing, Basketball Hall of Famer, New York Knick, turning 64. Musician Pat Smear of both Nirvana and Foo Fighters, turning 67. The guitar player, because Nirvana needed an extra guitar. We need a right-handed guitar in our band. No, yeah, because, you know, you play in concerts, you can't play every note on one left-handed Stratocaster. Musician Pete Burns, from Dead or Alive, born in 1959. Let's see, anybody else? Musician David Hungate of Toto, turned 78. Lonnie Anderson, if she was still around, from WKRP in Cincinnati, the voluptuous blonde who somehow made more money than anybody at the station, even though she was a receptionist. She was born in 1945, so she would be a ripe old 81 today. Actor Erika Slezak turning 80. Hockey Hall of Fame member Herb Brooks, born in 1937. You don't know who Herb Brooks was. He was the coach of the Miracle on Ice team, 1980. Astronaut Neil Armstrong, we covered. Filmmaker John Huston, born in 1906, father of Angelica Houston. Made a lot of westerns out in the desert. Western writer Guy de Maupassant, French author, born in 1850. Now, I did read one of the stories, and I think it was called The Necklace. The Necklace is the one I wrote, and it was a very poignant story about a lady who borrowed a necklace from a rich person for a party, and the rich person was a total fraud. The rich person gave her a fake necklace. She lost the necklace, spent 10 years paying for it, and found out in the end it was actually costume jewelry, which is terrible. 10 years paying back some costume paste jewelry crap. So that was a very good. I remember reading it and going, holy shit, I'd hate to be that person. I think I would probably kill that person. I think I would. I think I would be, hi, having a nice time? You know that money I gave you? I want it back. Or we're going to take it out in ass. Pieces of your ass scattered all over your front yard. That's what we're going to do.
Wow.
Your teeth are going to be long to the ages. So anyway, I'm just saying. Oh my God! What would you do to that person who gave you fake costume jewelry, said it was real, and now you got to pay him back for losing it? What would you do? I don't know what I'd do. I don't think there's a limit up to my imagination of what I would do, right? Anywho, those are your days, our National Day calendar. Let's get on with this. It's only 3 things. National Underwear Day, unless you're going commando. A lot of people do. National Oyster Day. Don't commando today. It's National Underwear. I know people that wear underwear under bathing suits. What a weird thing that is. National Work Like a Dog Day. Just think about that. What?
Run around a field chasing sheep? That's what dogs do. Defend you some chickens from foxes?
No, just sniff butts before you do anything. That's what it is. Just sniff somebody's butt. Okay, I'm back to work. There you go. And National Oyster Day. Again, I don't think dogs eat oysters, but those farts, we were talking about farts earlier, those would be some interesting farts. Because human oyster farts are bad enough. National Underwater Day, National Oyster Farts Day, and National Work Like a Dog Day. It's only those 3 things. So your mispronunciation, your haikus, well, no haikus. We had limericks, alliteration headlines, technical glitches for sure. On Wednesday, Weird Wednesday, August 5th. God, I guess we missed the rocket smashing into the moon. Did that already happen, or is it happening tonight? Anyway, but that's it for today. On August 5th, 2026, and before oysters. They call them in some place. Oyster.
Yeah, I don't have a telescope, so I was never going to be able. Thank you, Almond, for the cheer. I was never going to be able to see it myself. Also, birthdays we missed for people I know. Delern Deverne, who is the country drag queen. He has like a huge mustache, and then he puts on full drag. It's great. I've seen a couple of his TikToks. And then also, I guess, I don't know if you mentioned Youngblood, but Youngblood is a famous, I don't know if I guess he's a rock singer. He's, I forget his name. He died this year or last year?
What's that? You forgot the guy whose name you just looked up?
No. The guy who died earlier this year. Famous rock guy. Ozzy Osbourne. He's Ozzy Osbourne's protege. Youngblood. Basically, he's been handed the microphone.
Oh,
He's like, the kid's all right. He's the guy who's like, the kid's all right. Rock is still alive. That's who Youngblood is. Anyways,
I did not like.
you're not with
later
the kids, so why would you care about the kid? You're not a kid, so you don't care what the kids are up to. Anyways, it's no International UN Day today.
Ozzy Osbourne. I thought they made him.
This isn't about Ozzy Osbourne.
We're
not talking about him. I was just saying who Youngblood was in relation to anything relation to you. It's still World Breastfeeding Day. Week, sorry. Breastfeeding week, in which you just talked for like two minutes. We're trying to finish the show. So continue supporting people breastfeeding in public because fuck those weirdos who have a problem with it. And this has been Allison here from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast US, as we tie off another Wacky and Weird Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow for Thursday 17, in which we'll have a list of 13 things to discuss, argue, and talk about, which all those things are talking. And so I hope to see you tomorrow for Thursday 13. Don't forget to subscribe to our Before Coffee podcast on YouTube. It's free. Tell your family to subscribe and follow us on Twitch.
Doesn't even take effort. Just subscribe. It's
click a button. Thing. Yeah, click that red button and click that purple star on Twitch if you're not already following us on Twitch at Before Coffee Podcast. Same name. Thank you to all our Before Coffee supporters on Patreon who are keeping the lights on. And here is our mic drop moment. Fuck atom bombs! After we killed all those people.
Communist doctrine is the setting of an historic event.
Well, I guess the Kremlin didn't do it.
It's a jovial Khrushchev who is on hand.
Famously, they also set off a nuclear bomb in the ocean, and a bunch of British soldiers died of radiation too. It was a joint test, and then a bunch of British people died from it. British veterans. Years later, obviously, from radiation poisoning. We just realized those tests we were doing killed people! Wow!
I think it's interesting that it's newsreel in 1963. I thought those stopped in the 40s.
Really? Maybe.
You went to the movies to watch because people didn't have television.
Technically, newsreels haven't happened today. They still do them on current news shows where they go, here's this, like that squirrel story we followed. That was a newsreel, right? Because that was pre-recorded before, and then they just played it.
Black and white.
Yeah.
1963.
But like footage with the voiceover has not stopped.
Major U.S. newsreel stopped in 1967. Two major.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels: Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.